All right. Okay, so we're recording as of now. All right, awesome. So tonight's going to be a little bit talk heavy for me, kind of one directional, right? Um, let me share with you not completely, but let me share with you the agenda of what we're going to be doing tonight. So, first thing we're going to do is a little bit of introductions. Then we're going to set up something that I've used a lot in different classes, but also in different faculty meetings and all kind of places, community meetings of what's called working agreements. Excuse me, we'll go through the syllabus. We'll spend a little time just kind of reviewing the different little pieces of tech that we're going to need to pull this course off together. And then we'll preview the work coming up and we'll have a short closing, okay? Somewhere in there, around about 7, we'll find a good place to take just a 10-minute break, okay? All right. So, is anybody got any questions initially, even about the agenda, what we're going to be doing tonight? No? Okay, cool. All right. So, in terms of introductions, I think that you all probably know each other pretty well, right? Because you've been in a cohort together for a while. Y'all don't know me too well. And I'm hoping to get to know you more as we go through the course, but more particularly, I was trying to think of what would be interesting for you to hear from each other, right? And so what we're about to do is we're going to break into pairs, okay? And I will send you into pairs. And I'm going to ask you to sort of interview each other around these 3 questions. What are you hoping to get out of this course? What do you think you can bring to this course or add to the course? And what are your concerns, right? So it's a little bit of hopes, a little bit of concerns, maybe even fears, I don't know. And also, what do you think you might be bringing to the table? So we'll take 5 minutes. Won't take super long. And I'm going to put you into pairs. And so the only person you'll see on the screen, actually, you know what? Just take a minute and jot down those questions so you're sure you've got them. Okay. What are you hoping to get out of it? What do you think you can add? And what are your concerns? Okay. Stop the share here for a second. All right. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to break you into pairs, like I just said. You're going to need to unmute your mics, of course, at that point. And when we come back to the whole group, I'm going to ask you to tell us what your partner had to say. Okay. The arrangement on the screen when we're back together won't show the pairs, so you're going to have to tell us. You know, if like Grace and Brittany are together, you're going to have to say who you're talking to. Okay. While you're in pairs, the only person you're going to see on the screen is your partner. And I will be popping in and out of the different conversations, almost like walking around a classroom. Okay. So you may see me show up, and then I'll leave. I'll just be showing up to listen. Okay. So I'm not going to really interact in those points. Okay, we cool? And you'll get a message from me when you're about to come back into the groups. So give me 1 sec. I'm going to put us into breakout rooms. Okay, ready? Here we go. So you've all been invited to join a room, so go for it. Oh, Anthony, you and I are, no, there you go.
Can you ask Bella for a piece of paper for me? No, I really need it for school. Okay, so what are you hoping to get out of this course? What do you think you can add to this course? And what are your concerns about this course? So I was looking through the syllabus, and it seems my mom just finished getting her SDL and SDL, and it seems very similar to some of the courses she took in her program for that, like at least for what she told me about. So I guess like getting a better understanding of the administrative aspects of schools.
Like consulting with teachers?
Yeah.
Okay. Hello.
Hi.
Okay, and then what do you think you can add to this course?
What I think I can add? I'm not too sure. Because I'm looking through the syllabus right now, and all of this already seems pretty new to me. So maybe this is a question I could revisit when it's the end of the semester and I actually have like a better idea of what goes into.
My undergrad didn't really prepare me to understand curriculum very well.
You took psych, did you?
No, I was neuro.
Oh, neuropsych. Okay.
Yeah, so a lot of my classes were just heavy science. So I think I lost a lot of the education background that I probably should have.
Okay. Well, I didn't have an education class either. Just psych and then bio.
Yeah.
So okay, that's another question checked. Well, for you.
Yeah.
For me, let me say. I hope to get out of this course. I would say same.
Taking this class, I would be able to just kind of see like also what he sees and like maybe find a middle ground in terms of like education versus psychology and stuff like that. So
that makes sense. Yeah, that's a good way to look at it, I think.
Yeah. So then the other question was any additions to the course that we may contribute to, or?
Okay. I'm saying, I would say again, like that psychological perspective on things, or like a different approach.
Right.
And I'm sure you feel the same way.
Yeah, exactly.
We don't really have too strong a background in education.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I like in undergrad, I took some like developmental courses and like, you know, just very basic stuff. So, I mean, hopefully there's a little bit more.
So wait, for you said your kindergarten experience, or what was it?
So I'm in a preschool now. I worked in a kindergarten last year.
Okay.
So I feel like, you know, I'm able to see the academic that they have in kindergarten, and preschool it's more behavioral.
Yeah. Okay. Academic behavior. And the concern was also like the online.
Yeah. So not so much like the material, I don't think, but just the logistics of figuring out how to get on each week, make sure I keep up with the work and whatnot. I think that's my biggest concern.
Yeah, me too. Like you have to be on top of.
Yeah. Yeah, just working that out. So yeah. All right. So do you have any other concerns?
Not really. It's just that like this is my first online class and using the Zoom. So it's weird.
Yeah, totally get that. And I guess also being our first education class.
Yeah.
I guess last semester with Barbado was in the education, I think, realm, but I don't know. This is, to me, newer because I feel like we've done so much psychology. That is.
Yeah, I am. And like Barbados class talked about like the autism. So this is more like curriculum, it says.
Yeah. I have like no experience with curriculum.
Yeah, me either.
Never had to, which is kind of nice. All right, I opened the chat message. I'm not sure. Okay, close it. All right, there we go. All right, cool. Sounds good. Let's see, I have all your answers.
How did you? Oh, okay. Yeah.
So yeah, I just have like a Google Doc going on the side. So. All right, perfect.
Hello. Oh, why am I orange?
I don't know what to do with this light. Oh, okay, that works.
Hold on.
Kind of.
There we go. Okay. All right. So, we'll just kind of open this up. Who would like to go first? Tell us what your partners, let's kind of go all the way around, like one question at a time, right? So what are you hoping to get out of it? Then we'll go, what do you think you're bringing? And then what are your concerns? Okay. So anybody can go first. Jump right in.
I'll go first.
Okay.
All right. So my partner was Selena. And what she's hoping to get out of it is a better understanding about the different districts, how different districts use different curriculums. So just understanding, more than the one she's currently at. She works in school now. So just kind of learning about different districts. Do you want me to keep going or did you want to move on to other classmates?
We're going to stick with one question at a time, okay?
Okay, perfect.
So Selena, why don't you tell us about Brittany and then we'll go to another pair.
So Brittany said that what she hopes to get out of it is to have a better understanding of the educational aspects, since the classes that we've been taking talk a lot about psychology. So she wants to be more familiar with how writing curriculums takes place or how to instruct a class.
Thank you. Another pair? Who'd like to go?
I'll go. So I interviewed Catherine, and she's hoping to better understand like how this course is going to be applicable for school psychology, and how to integrate this information into, I guess, her professional life.
Cool. Catherine, what did Courtney have to say?
Courtney is hoping to gain more insight into education as a whole and also hoping to have a better understanding of the professional standards. And yeah, I think that's it.
Okay, cool. Next pair?
I'll go.
Kirsten, go ahead.
Grace can go. It's okay.
I'm sorry. It's like a delay here, so I didn't see. So my partner was Anthony, and he said that he was hoping to get a different perspective, because we're mostly on the psychology side, so he wants a better understanding of the educational side of it. Yeah.
Great. Thank you. We got it. It was a little broken up there, but I think we got it. Anthony, how about Grace?
So Grace was hoping to see a teacher's perspective on things and kind of see the differences between an educational viewpoint and a psychological viewpoint.
Mm-hmm. That's helpful. Thank you. Who's next? Kirsten, go ahead.
Kirsten, you can go first.
Oh,
Thanks. I had Eunice. She was my partner, and she just wants to kind of better understand just curriculum as a whole. Although she has a little bit of experience with it, she just would like to get a better understanding and knowledge of like how curriculum works and how it's formed.
Awesome. Thank you. Eunice?
So Kirsten said that she wanted to get out of this course is more of the social emotional understanding of like kids in school and how that plays into like education and like being in the school setting.
Okay, cool. Awesome. And I think we have one pair left.
Yeah. So Savannah wanted to understand how administration views running schools and like supporting kids as far as their kids that are like gen ed and their kids that might have classifications and like things like that, and just how they go further to support everyone.
Okay, interesting. All right. And Savannah, what did Sarah have to say?
And so for Sarah, she had mentioned that her mom had recently taken a course that sounded similar to this one. So she would like to get her own personal understanding about how administration, like aspects of schools.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you, everybody. Why don't we go back through the same order, just to keep things a little bit easier. What do you think you might be bringing to the class?
So when I talked to Selena, she would like to share her experience. She currently works as a para, grades 2nd to 5th, and she, is able to see how students and teachers interact together. So she's hoping that her personal experience at her job will be able to be helpful in the classroom.
Got it. And go ahead.
Brittany said the similar thing. She said that she's also a para, and she has a lot of experience working with children who are in kindergarten and preschool. So she's seen a lot of academics with kindergarten, and then with preschool, she's seen a lot of behavior. So she's able to bring that to the classroom.
Great. All right, we'll keep going. Honestly, I'm not sure who was next. So
I think that was me. Yeah,
Okay.
so I'm just realizing that Catherine and I said we were going to go back to this question, and then we never did.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
all right, that makes it easy. All right. Next pair.
I think it was me. So Eunice was talking about so what she could bring is she has a lot of experience subbing in the schools, as well as having a chance to be a long-term sub where she had access to curriculum. So she thinks that she could bring a good amount of like knowledge and the field-based work that comes along with subbing and curriculum is in the schools.
That's helpful. Thanks. Eunice? You're muted.
Sorry.
There you go.
I actually forgot what Kirsten said. I just messaged her when she said for the second question.
Kirsten, you want to just go ahead for yourself there for a second?
Yeah, so I think I have like a really high interest in wanting to learn more about like where the future of school is going, like more of the social emotional learning base, being more accepting, trying to move forward of a healing process in the school system, more as just like strictly curriculum as it might have previously been. So I feel like just like my willingness to see where the school is going is kind of something that I can bring.
Great. Thank you. Who's next? There we go.
Is me, Anthony? Yeah.
Yes, I think that's right.
So Anthony said he is currently working in a school setting. So yeah, he definitely feels like he can take a different approach, not just just academically, but now that we are like in our 2nd year of our school psychology program, we have a more things to like add in the psychology part of it. So he
Right,
has
I got
like a
that from the person. Yeah, that's all.
different approach to like maybe like finding a middle ground.
Great. Anthony, what did Grace want to bring to the table?
Grace was talking about how
Like
she can use her like the classes she took in undergrad and grad school to help her find like missing pieces to puzzles in education, and kind of using all the skills she's learned these past 2 years and putting it towards this class.
Great, thanks. And I think finally, right, Sarah and Savannah.
Yeah. So Savannah said that she thinks what she could add in is that she's worked in a school now for 2 years and has gotten to see varying aspects of how public schools run, or at least in her own personal work setting.
And what role did Savannah have in that school?
She works as a teacher's assistant in a classroom for students, I think primarily with autism.
Okay, great, thanks. And Savannah, how about Sarah? What did Sarah have to say?
Sarah said that she had peer edited a lot of her mom's papers, so she feels like she may have a good background of what some of the potential topics would be. And her job is that she is an administrative assistant, so she feels like that can bring something to the course.
Thank you. Hey, so Thea, we're running through. We did kind of peer interviews around 3 questions. What are you hoping to get out of the class? What do you think you could bring to the class? And the third thing we're about to get into, and maybe you can just join for yourself here, is what concerns maybe folks have about the class. Okay. So let's go back to the pairs. We'll run back through one more time.
All right, so Selena didn't really have any concerns so much with material of the program, or the class rather. Hers is more just logistically with using an online class and using this program. So that's her main concern moving forward.
The online stuff. Got it. Okay, thanks.
Brittany said that her main concern is also that she's never taken an online class, so she has to make sure she is on top of her assignments and she hands things in on time.
Okay, thank you. Next pair.
So Catherine's main concern was kind of similar to what she was hoping to better understand with the course, is like how applicable this is going to be to school psychology and how often we'll actually use this information. But then again, that's also one of her hopes to better understand and get out of this course too.
Great. It's helpful.
And then for Courtney, hers was also with it being an online course. So just being able to understand the info to its fullest degree while this is an online course.
Okay, great. And I think it was...
So Eunice's biggest concern was just more about like the logistics of the technology. It's kind of like, is it going to work every week? And is she going to feel comfortable participating in an online class of such sort? That was kind of like her concerns, not so much about the course itself.
Got it. Thanks. Eunice, what does Kirsten have to say?
Same thing. Especially with like the internet connection. What if something like there's lag and stuff keeps cutting in and out? That was about it, really.
Okay. Thank you. And I think Grace and Anthony, you guys are next.
Yep. Anthony and I had similar concerns where we don't have a lot of exposure to education courses. So we're a little worried that maybe we might fall behind maybe people who already have more experience working in a school setting. Especially like terminologies that I might not be familiar with because they're, just using it a lot more often in school, whereas like where we're learning in class.
Okay, thank you. And Anthony, what are Grace's concerns?
One of Grace's concerns was that she's not currently in a school setting, so she's worried about like being unfamiliar with the work and like me not recognizing terminology or not being familiar with terminology.
Great, that's helpful. Thanks. And finally, I think it was Sarah and Savannah, and then Thea will go to you.
Yeah. So Savannah said that her concerns were also like understanding how this relates to school psychology and how to apply this to what we'll be doing in the future.
Great, thanks.
Sarah had pretty much a similar concern in that she wasn't entirely sure about the relation to school psychology with the course, but.
Okay, great. And Thea, welcome. Glad you're here. Actually, and I'm kind of glad that we're on Zoom if you're not feeling great. So,
yeah.
So, any concerns you have about the class?
Something similar. I'm also not in. I work in a doctor's office, so I'm not around children enough, or even in the school setting. And I am really bad at online courses. I always forget about the work.
Okay. I'm glad to hear you say that. All right. So thank you, everybody. That was really helpful. So this course is designed to address, I would say, all of those concerns. Okay. And we're going to spend a bunch of time tonight just on the logistics. So for those of us who were concerned about, like, is this actually going to work, this online business, right? We're gonna walk through the tech. We're not going to spend a ton of time on it, but I'm also get you to the support pages and help pages so you can go check stuff out on your own if you need to, right? So that we'll do that. In terms of like staying up on top of an online course, like I know that one of the things, like I'm bad at this myself, one of the things that gets in the way when it's a totally asynchronous course, right, is that it's like it's all on your schedule and you know the timing is all on you, right, to figure out where to get it done. This course is really almost more like a regular old course. This is more of a hybrid actually, right, where we're going to meet every other week and you do have due dates for stuff, right? So it's not like it's totally at your own timing. So you have some flexibility, but there's also some like, we're going to be holding class. We're just not all going to be in the same physical space. Okay. So I think that's a nice balance that holds us accountable. One of the other pieces around that, we'll talk more about this in some detail. For those of us who have taken online classes and much of the interaction is on those discussion boards, you know, like we're done. I'm done with those. Like no more of the discussion boards. People don't show up. What they have to say often is pretty shallow, right? It's kind of fake. And like we're not, and personally, I'm always behind the thread. Like I'm like, oh, somebody says something five people back, and how does this relate to what? It's like, nah, we're not going to do that. So that's one of the reasons that we're doing this on Zoom, so that we can actually have real conversations in real time. And I'm also going to introduce you to a thing called Flipgrid. Has anybody ever used Flipgrid before? Okay, Flipgrid, it's like a discussion board, but it's with video clips. So you could record it with your phone and post it. It's more like a Facebook with video, right? So I'll show you about that. But that's what we're going to be doing for that sort of stuff too. So it's really designed to be a lot more interactive than a lot of online courses are. So that's one thing. Second piece is, look, we're all adults here. We're all balancing work, school, and home, right? So you do have a couple of weeks in between every class to kind of time out when you can get stuff done, read, and work done. And although I have set due dates for things, I'm accommodating and flexible. And if you're not making, you know, we can work stuff out. Like, you guys are all adults. I trust you to make the choices that are best in your own life, right? I get that. And what was I going to say? I had something more to say about that, but no, it's gone. So, you know, I wouldn't sweat it that way. In terms of the applicability to being a school psychologist, I assume everybody here is headed towards becoming a school psychologist, right? Am I right about that? Okay. This is hugely important to school psychologists, but it's rarely mentioned for school psychologists, right? School psychologists in most places are psychometricians, right? Mostly you're doing testing, right? In a lot of places, and you're making recommendations on placement and so forth. If you're doing social emotional counseling, that can be part of the job, but that is frequently less a part of the job than testing around a kid that school is concerned about, right? Well, the concern often arises in that the kid is not meeting the expectation that school has for them, right? Well, so where do they get those expectations from? The curriculum is a major part of that, right? And a piece of that is, who's got the problem here? It is a mismatch between the kid and the curriculum. Who's got the problem, right? Is it the kid? Is the curriculum not meeting their needs, right? So for you to walk into that conversation with, you know, some background about how curriculum decisions get made and what they're about and how the rest of the school is talking about curriculum, I think is going to be hugely valuable to you, right? So I haven't had a lot of conversations with Dr. Zabulski about where this fits in your program. But what I'm gathering is this is one course in your school psychologist program. There are not many of you who, like Sarah's mom, are headed for supervisory certification. Am I right about that? Or is anybody here like trying to get their supervisor cert? Is this your fourth course in the supervisor cert sequence? Because I heard a couple people say this is my first education course. Am I right about that? Yes, first education. Okay, all right. So just so you know where this fits on my side of the world, is that this is one course in a 4-course sequence for folks who want to be supervisors, right? Those people can then go on and take more courses to become a principal if they want to. But this is the first 4 courses. This is one of those first 4 courses. Okay, so that's just FYI. So, all right. I think a lot of your questions, more of your questions, we'll just answer as we go through the evening tonight. Okay. So, let me get back to this working agreements idea really quick. Where did you go? Ah, hold on. This is remarkably timely. I learned about working agreements from Ms. Dorothy Cotton, and she's the person in the center of this picture here. I'm sure you recognize the person to one side of her. The other is Dr. Ralph Abernathy. Ms. Cotton was the person who, if you were working in the civil rights movement and you were working in your small town and you wanted to learn how to become an organizer, you went and worked with Ms. Cotton, who was the education director for SCLC, with Dr. King, got trained with her, and then you went back to your community and did the work. So you would spend a few weeks working with Ms. Cotton and then move back. Now, I was lucky enough that when I used to live in Ithaca, that was the community to which Ms. Cotton had retired, and then it became a Dorothy Cotton Institute. So I got to learn this technique in part from her. And what working agreements are about is a small set of agreements that we can have together about what's going to make this class this gathering really work for us. Okay, so I've done this in school board meetings. I've done this in faculty meetings. I've done it in community meetings. I've done it in classes. I've done it all over the place, and it really works well for us. Examples of the kind of things that have been in working agreements are things like what we say here stays here, right? Because we need to be able to talk about what we're seeing in the schools, but we don't want that to get back to anybody, and so we got to be able to talk about that confidentially. That's the kind of thing. Take care of yourself, right? You're an adult. If you need to get up and go to the bathroom, get up and go to the bathroom. Mute your camera, go take care of life, and come back. Those kinds of things, right? I have a daughter who is doing a lot of work in disaster relief. She just got back today from Puerto Rico, right, and helping out with the earthquake. When she's down there, I need to have my cell phone available because she's going to WhatsApp me. She's in a danger zone. I kind of need to know. So I'm going to let you guys know when that happens, so that if I get a call, like, yo, what happened to that guy? Where'd he go? Right. But I'll only have it on in those cases. Like tonight, I don't have it on. Right. So those are the kinds of things. So I'm going to switch over. I can not quite see everybody in this mode. So I'm going to go back to gallery mode. What are the kinds of things that have worked for you in classes? Like, your experienced graduate students now, what are the kinds of things that you need to make a class really work for you? Courtney, go ahead.
So I'm more of like a hands-on learner. So being able to like implement material or things that we're using in class is really helpful for me. So then I can like ask in real time to figure that out if I'm unsure, like exactly what we're learning or understanding it completely.
Okay. So you want more doing, less sort of sitting back and listening, right?
Mm-hmm.
I got it.
I feel a little opposite on that. I definitely feel like I'm more of like a listener. I feel like I could take in more material when I can hear it. And then also, the visuals of PowerPoints help.
Okay.
I think class discussion and bouncing ideas off one of each other helps a lot too.
Okay. Let me ask you a question. When it comes to class discussions, or group discussions, one of the rules or working agreements I've seen with different groups is things like step up, step back, or sometimes people call it one mic, right? Which is step up, step back is if you're the kind of person who's kind of shy and doesn't speak up in class much, that's an encouragement to please do so. And then we'll all encourage each other to do that. But by the opposite token, if you're the kind of person who kind of dominates a class discussion, it's like, step back a little bit. Would that sort of thing help folks? Seeing some small nods. Should I put it in a step up, step back? Right. So this course adds an interesting level of sort of exposure that we don't usually have in class, which is that if we are at home, right, when we're doing this, people can see into our homes, right? So I can show you when we go through what I think is important about that is that you should be sure that you're visually comfortable with what you're sharing with us, right? And also, because I'm going to propose that we have this, what we say here stays here rule, that you be in a place where other folks around can't hear our conversation. right? Because if we were all sitting in the same classroom, we could just close the door. But we've got now 14 doors open, right? So potentially, so we should just, that's just another piece of that. All right. So I'm going to just share with you, this is what I've got so far from our working agreements. I have step up, step back. Hands or hands-on work. PowerPoints as notes, and active discussion. We say here stays here. Does anybody want a sort of take care of yourself kind of a thing, just as an agreement? Like, so nobody's going to get bugged out if somebody steps up and walks out for a second because they've got to attend to things. Oops. Let me ask you this, and I can't quite see everybody, so you're going to have to kind of call out here. Is there anything in particular that you want from an instructor in terms of feedback or flexibility or whatever?
I think it's helpful if there's like an actual feedback when it comes to like written work, maybe, or even if it's like the flip video thing, whatever. Maybe if you could just like leave some kind of comment, maybe that would be helpful.
Yes. So you want actual feedback on assignments, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay. Anybody else?
Okay. Like have documents posted like in a timely manner, I guess.
Okay, great. All right, so I'll address some of those things as we go through the syllabus, but all of those things I'm anticipating. So one of the pieces here is that, these working agreements are not about me enforcing them. They're about all of us holding each other accountable for them, okay? So you're gonna see them at the beginning of each meeting so that you know what we're all about, okay? You might get a little sick of them, but there may come a time also when you'll be glad that they were there, okay? All right, so let's move on. All right, let me walk you through the syllabus, okay? And in doing the syllabus, I'm gonna focus mostly for right now on timing and on assignments, okay? I don't think I have my syllabus open right now. Let me see. Oh, I do. Okay, great. All right. Oops. All right. One thing to know about assignments is I will do my best to walk you through samples that I have from previous courses when people have done the work in advance, so you can see what this thing actually looks like, right? And we'll try to walk through a rubric together so you get a sense of how it's going to be assessed. All right, and I'll do that to the extent that I actually have samples from either this course or similar kinds of work to show you. Okay. The other thing is that when it comes to, a couple of you raised the concern that you know, I'm not actually in a school or a school district, like, so how am I going to get access to this stuff? I can certainly provide you with examples from other districts if you're not currently in a district. Likewise, though, if you have some kind of connection, either through family or friends or whatever, to somebody who works there, and you can get some of those things, go for it. Okay, but none of these are going to be that hard. But I'll talk you through some more of those examples. So let me share with you the syllabus real quick. Okay. Right, so. Zoom sessions and flip grids. Okay, so, oh, oops, that was a mistake right there. Video conference will be held 5 times. It's going to be held 8 times. 8 times during the semester, okay? Flip grids are these 90-second to 2-minute videos, okay? You'll see as I go through the timing here that it's like Zoom session this week, flip grid next week, Zoom session. There'll be another flip grid in a few weeks, right? So it's not like you have to be in touch with us all the time every week, right? But it's going to be a place to leave some notes. The other thing I'm going to do with Flipgrid, and when we get to the tech, I'll show it to you, is that I'll also use that as a way to preview the readings that are coming up. So I'll make a short video there myself, and you can go watch it and say, oh, here's what's coming up, okay? The Zoom sessions, like this is a class session. I'm going to expect you to come in and be a good colleague to each other, right? To be professional, to be supportive, to push each other a little bit. I'll tell you what, I got checked. I got really checked today by some friends of mine, colleagues of mine, and I appreciated it. It was hard. It was embarrassing, right? But I got really checked. And if we can have that kind of conversation here, I'll be very proud. Here's what happened. I posted yesterday. I said, listen, I'm incredibly moved by everything Kobe has done on the court and the growth that he's had since he left the game has been amazing, right? He's now becoming that wise guy sharing everything. I said, but can we talk also about the sexual assault? And people checked me right away. Like, this is not the time, right? That case was contested at best. And other people were like, yeah, that needs to be a part of it. That needs to be part of the discussion. So, you know, I was like, wow, it was really, I mean, I knew I was saying something challenging, but my friends and colleagues did not hesitate to say, here's what you need to be thinking about if you're going to raise that issue. I hope that in this conversation amongst us, we can have that kind of honesty with each other, right? Because we kind of need it, right? This work is hard. And it's important. If it was easy, and if making schools work for all kids was easy, we'd have gotten this done by now. But school psychologists are a key linchpin in making schools really work well. So I hope we'll have that kind of honest conversation. The mission statement and philosophy analysis, okay? You're going to be asked to go through and write about. The format in which you do that, I will leave to you, okay? You can write about it. You could produce a PowerPoint about it. You could produce a podcast about it. You could produce a video about it, okay? The format in which you do it is up to you. But I'm going to ask you to go through these 4 different questions. Part of the reason for that is that this is one of the ways, sorry, there's a situation going on out here. Curriculum tends to be one of the ways that schools demonstrate what's really important to them, and that tends to derive from their mission statement. Okay, so I'll be asking you to look through that. That analysis is due in a few weeks. Okay, so when we get together next time on the 10th, I'll share with you some samples of what that could look like, right? And we'll walk it through. All right. So there's that. The next assignment is looking at current controversies in curriculum and instruction. Okay. What you're going to be doing here is leading a discussion with your classmates. You can pick one of these topics or another one. If there's another one that's coming up for you, just run it past me in an email or something like that, and we'll see. I've given you a list of suggested ones. I wouldn't be shocked if a bunch of school psychologists chose why such a push for social emotional learning. Right? That kind of would make sense to me if folks want to do that. It's not like, I mean, you could, all 15 of you could do the same topic if you chose to, but you're not required to do any one. I don't really care which one you do. The idea is you're being able to get into who are the actors here, what's at issue, right? How do issues of equity and excellence play out here? And being able to lead an effective conversation with your educational colleagues around that and what people might be able to do, okay? So again, I'll share with you some examples of that for it. With this, you're going to be making that, you're going to be leading that discussion in a small group on Zoom, okay? So there's 2 tech pieces associated with that. And if we get to both of them tonight, great. And if not, we'll get to one of them in time. But one piece is you're going to need to sign up for which slot in which you're going to present it. Okay. And you're also going to need to be able to share a screen like I've been doing tonight. Okay. So I'll walk you through those things. Okay. You don't have to do a PowerPoint if you don't want to, but if you're going to, you need to know how to do that. Okay. And you're also going to need to be able to manage your time well, because there ain't a lot of time. You're going to need to do that in 20 minutes. Okay. So as we get closer, I'll remind you about this, but one thing you're going to want to do for that is rehearse before you get into it. Okay. That's important. Okay. Now, this next one, staff development or curriculum briefing, this one's going to be harder for you guys if you're not in schools. Okay. And for those of you who are not, I can certainly create a dummy set of issues and documents to support that, right? That would be generic. So I'll put those up there for you. But the basic idea here is finding, if you are in a school, this is awesome. Find something that is a problem that's going on in the school with respect to either professional development or curriculum. Define the problem. Describe 3 strengths and 3 challenges that are facing the district. Find 3 best practices and propose what could address those issues. And then how do we look a little further? Because this is a fairly quick briefing, right? It's a fairly quick project. But the basic idea here is let's find a real problem going on in our district with respect to this. Go out and get smart about it. Come back and teach other people about it, right? So you become kind of the expert. Now, your audience for that could be, you could be leading a faculty meeting about it. You could be leading a PTA meeting about it. You could be talking to a leadership group about it. Variety of people presenting at a school board meeting, whatever. Okay. But again, you're gonna do this briefing. If you happen to be in a school and you want to invite me out to see it there and do it live, all the better. Okay. All the better. You'll get double credit for that. You'll get an extra 25 points if you do it live and you have me come there to do it. Okay. For those of you who are not in a school, if you would volunteer to do that, maybe in a friend school, or if you have children in school, that that would be a possibility too. But, if you're going to present it to us, then we will pretend to be your audience. We'll either be your PTA or your faculty meeting or whatever. Okay. Again, you're going to sign up for this in the slots that you need to do it. Okay. And again, you'll be doing a curriculum mapping analysis. You may not know what curriculum mapping is, but this will be super helpful for you guys as psychologists to really understand how curriculum works, right? And if it's even clear what we're expecting kids to do. Like teachers come and say, I can't deal with this kid. Anna, she doesn't even understand what's going on in class. Well, are you being clear about what you want Anna to do? Is what you're asking Anna to do relevant to her, right? Is it appropriate for her, etc.? So that will be a very helpful thing for you. This is fairly self-explanatory, I think, the way the schedule runs. You see I put that cute little cloud and computer icon on the nights when we're meeting together, okay? I've tried to put this link everywhere so you can't lose it. That'll be the link for our Zoom meetings all the time, right? And it's like walking into a virtual classroom, basically, okay? So that's kind of all over the place. But basically the course is organized into several parts. First one is what is curriculum and what does instructional leadership around that look like? Second, how do you get a whole school on board with curriculum and instruction goals? And when you're in schools, a lot of the faculty's work is going to be going into this. Leaders put a ton of work into this. And if you can be a part of that, that'll be pretty awesome. And then finally, the last part of it is looking even more into what are the different things you want to know about the different areas of curriculum: literacy, STEM, social studies, etc. Okay, so that is all of that. I want to stop sharing. Where did we go? Oops. All right. There we go. Stop sharing. All right. Whew. That was a lot. I threw a whole lot at you. Let's take some questions now, and then we'll take a 10-minute break, okay? Anybody got any questions from all that I just threw at you? Brittany.
I just have a quick question. Is it easy to access the information that you're looking for? Is that something that we have to go to the principal? Is it usually online? Like, how do you find that information about the curriculums?
Like the mission statement, let's say, or the curriculum maps, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
A principal will easily be able to get that stuff for you.
Okay.
Different districts are different around what they put out there. Usually a curriculum map is probably something that only faculty have access to. There aren't too many districts around that give public access to those things. But as I said, for those of us who don't, sorry, there's a fire truck in my neighborhood. For those of us who don't work in schools, I can get access to curriculum documents and post those so you can work from those. And what I'll try to do is to get a couple of different districts so you can have a choice of those. And where it's figuring out a problem of practice, what I'll do instead there is come up with a case study around that and have you work from that case study. Okay.
Thank you.
Sure. Any other questions for now? I'm going to walk you through it. Okay. Like I'm gonna try to really clearly explain to you what's expected and help you get the information. When we get to the tech piece after the break, I'll show you just how I've laid out Blackboard in that respect also, as well as these other tools. Okay. And like I was just saying about the link for Zoom, I've tried to make things kind of redundant so that there would be several different paths to getting things, so that you don't have to figure out, oh yeah, what did I have to click to get to the thing? You know, I try to make it easy enough that you can get back and forth between different places. Okay. But anyway, that's what we got for now. So let's take 10. I got 7:04 now. Okay, so we'll come back at, we'll just make it 1/4 past. All right? All right, I'll see everybody in a little bit. All right, welcome back, everybody. So one thing that I declined to mention when going through the syllabus is that a lot of the reading will come from this book, Theo Harrison Brooks. There's only one edition, so if you want to get a used copy, go for it. That'll be just fine. It's a really excellent collection of chapters around each subject area. When you come around to needing to look for best practices, okay, in a given area, in a given curriculum area, those chapters will all be really helpful. They will point you to other resources you want to get, right? They won't have all the answers for you right there, but it's a really strong book, so I highly recommend it. And it's not super expensive. I would not have recommended it to you if I didn't think it was one that you're going to keep in your library. Okay, so I'd recommend it. Going back to the tech stuff. Okay, I think I mentioned already, right, that we're going to be a hybrid. We're going to be doing assignments, and Theo Harrison Brooks is going to be your main text. Other sources will be online. I'll show you that in a minute. In terms of tech, there's 3 pieces I really want to highlight today. One is Zoom, Flipgrid, and the Doodle poll. Okay. But I also want to emphasize for you that the part that you're going to bring to this that's really important is you're going to need to have a device that's got a mic, a camera, and a strong Wi-Fi connection. Zoom's a really good platform. Okay, it's a really stable platform. So if there gets to be an issue with not being able to hear or something's garbled, it's probably the Wi-Fi connection where you are. Okay, you can do this with a smartphone. Okay, and you can do it with a computer. If you're really stuck and you're only going to be able to call in, I will also post the phone number so that you can just call in and we'll just hear your voice. We won't be able to see you. You won't be able to see us, you know, if something happens like that. Okay. All right. So getting back to Zoom a little bit. A couple of things are going to be really important for us. I think you've already now experienced the moving in and out of those chat rooms, right? Those breakout rooms. Did anything? Everybody was like a little bit. How does this work? I just got invited to a room. I saw everybody kind of stare at their screen for a second. But it seems like everybody kind of made their way in and out fairly seamlessly. Am I right? Okay. Did any questions that arose for you when we were doing that? Okay, cool. The other thing couple other tools you're gonna want to learn how to use. You'll see at the bottom of your screen, there's a little button that says chat, right? So when you hit chat, you can message me, any other single person, okay, or all of us, right, as a way to go. That can be useful, especially when we're doing the screen sharing, because you've probably noticed that when we're screen sharing, you see the screen and then you get thumbnails, but you don't get thumbnails of everybody. You have to kind of scroll through that. So you might not be able to see every other person. So that chat can be a helpful way to make your way through that, okay? So that's something you want to know about. But screen sharing is kind of the big one, right? So you see that button there, it's green and it says share, all right? When you click on that, it will give you a range of possibilities of things that you could share with us, okay? So click on it now just to see what's there. Okay, if it's offering you a whiteboard and you have like a sketch or a trackpad, you can draw on that with there. And otherwise, it's going to offer you whatever other windows and files you have open. So what you do is you choose the window, and then you hit the button that says share. Okay. So I don't think that multiple people can share at once, but let's try it. Everybody go and see if you can just pick a window and just share it with us, and we'll see what we see. This is a new one for me. I've never tried this. All right, that's what Anthony's sharing. Cool. Great. Yeah, I don't think this is going to work all at once. So I'll just go down the list. Okay. So Anthony, you got it. Brittany, share something with us. Oh, all right. Awesome. Beautiful. And then stop the screen sharing, please. Great. Catherine? Who knew you people were artists? Lovely. Okay, stop it, please. Anthony, you already did. Courtney. Oh, that's cool. What is that?
I don't know. I tried to share like a sticky note, but it did my whole screen.
That's okay. That worked. That's perfect. Eunice, share something with us.
The book.
Book. Okay, awesome. Oh, I didn't realize it was an ebook. All right, great. Cool. And now stop, please. Great. And who's next? Grace. How easy was that? All right, great. Thank you. Kirsten? Good. Thank you. Sarah? Oh, I'm sorry. Kirsten, you got to stop sharing your screen, please.
Hold on, I'm trying to figure out. Oh, found it.
Go up at the top. There you go. Perfect. I think there's a setting I can do to have multiple screen shares, but I'm not going to do that for right now. Okay. Sarah, share something with us, please.
For some reason, oh, I think it's in my privacy settings. I have to.
So you can share anything, by the way, right? Like I'm going to share a YouTube video with you all later, and it'll just play to you all just like it would play to me. Okay. Okay, great. So you downloaded it. All right, awesome, great.
Yeah.
Who have we missed? Selena? Perfect. Okay, and Theo. Awesome. All right, you guys got this, like you're pros already. Okay. So that's going to be the basics of how you share now. I'll share a tip with you now, and I'll remind you later. I don't know about Keynote, but I do know about PowerPoint, that when I share a PowerPoint screen with you and I want you to just see it straight up, there's a particular setting in how it plays, as though it was playing in a window to an individual instead of taking up my whole screen. It takes up my whole screen, then I can't see Zoom. I'll show you that later. You don't need to know that now, but just so you get a sense. These are some tips and tricks that I'll give you. Let me go to Blackboard here for a second. Hold on. Your tuition dollars at work. This thing is so slow. There we go. Okay, I want to share with you how I've laid out Blackboard. Oh, I'm sorry if you hear like a thunder sound. That's the dog moving her stuff around upstairs. I'm going to share with you what it looks like from your point of view. Okay? All right. So, under course information, I've put the syllabus, just a link to the textbook, links to Zoom. Now, in this folder, it's not only a link, this link right here will take you to the classroom we're in right now, but in addition, there's a link here to the Zoom Help Center. Okay, and here you can get to their short videos and instructions about navigating your way around Zoom. Okay, for those of you, you might want to just download the app to your desktop or even to your phone. Okay, you can use it with just your web browser, but I kind of like using it as the app on my machine. It works quite well. It's free. It won't charge you anything. Okay, so there's that. I've also made a link to Flipgrid. Now, for Flipgrid, you're going to sign in. You need to sign in with your FDU email. Okay, so it's whatever your thing is that goes then at student.fdu.edu. That's how you're going to sign in with it. Okay. Let's see if this takes us to where it should go. Okay. So I've also set, let me go back. For each week, I've laid it out and what you're going to need. For weeks 3 and 4, no, that wasn't. Where did I put that? Oh yeah, here we go. All right, so I started a flip grid for this. Now you can see there's a QR code there. So you can just get there if you want to use your phone and just zap that QR code. And here's the flip grid for this week. Okay, great, it was successful. Huh, that's not inspiring a lot of confidence. Right, I'm gonna fix that. That ain't working right. It worked fine this afternoon. I will fix it. I'll let you know when it's fixed. Okay. Back to the course info. So that's that. These are the links in Doodle for signing up for the different presentations. Okay. You guys have probably used Doodle before. For these two assignments or these two signups, it's first come, first serve. Okay. So you get to sign up for a slot, and when you've signed up for it, nobody else gets it. Okay. So, for example, here's all the slots. Okay. There's room A, B, and C, and the different times that you can sign up for. You choose one, and then it's closed to everybody else. Okay. I'm not trying to race everybody there. I'm just letting you know how it works. This is a month and a half away, so don't stress about it now. Go ahead, question.
What does room A, B, C, like what does that mean?
So in you know how we just did those breakout rooms, right? Like when you were paired up with your partner at the beginning of the class.
Yeah.
Those are called breakout rooms in Zoom talk. Okay.
So are we just going to be with like that amount of people?
Exactly. You'll be with like 3 or 4 people. Because we just don't have enough time, because there's like 14 people in the class. So we just don't have enough time for everybody to do a 20-minute presentation to everybody. We'd be here for hours. Right?
Okay.
So we have to break up into small groups to do it that way. All right? So that's the course information section. The course document section. Oh, there's that syllabus again. See, I'm trying to put stuff everywhere so you can find it. Okay. APA help. I'm sure you've had APA up to your eyeballs in the school psych program. You may be aware that this fall, APA got updated to the 7th edition. It actually makes life easier. I will tell you, I need to do APA for all my work, right? All my writing and stuff. I look stuff up all the time, right? Like, I need to know it for my profession. I look it up all the time. So I expect you to have to look stuff up. Like, nobody's expecting you to memorize this stuff. This first link right here will take you to just the updates. But for example, the things that it's made easier are it's way easier to cite online sources now than it used to be. And it's easier to do some in-text citations, okay? I've also got a sample of a student paper here that you can download and a sample of a title page, okay? But I want you to use those formats for your writing, okay? Come on, wake up. Wake up. There we go. As I said to you before, I've organized this by the weeks. In a given week, I will put up the slideshow from that week. And Oh, there it is. You will get both the PowerPoint version and a PDF for you to download. I saw somebody actually has already downloaded it. I was looking at it. Okay. You see that I don't put a lot of text on my PowerPoints, right? So they're there. They're good guides. But as you've probably seen, when a slide has a whole ton of text on it, you lose your audience pretty quickly. This is a video we're going to watch just at the end today. So that's also there for you. But I will also, as I said to you before, I'm recording this session, right? So I'm going to download that to my computer when we're done, and then I will upload it into YouTube. And so if you happen to miss a class one night, right, you can go back and watch the video. And then what I'll ask you to do is to just make a one-on-one Zoom session with me, just to make just so we can go over it. You can make sure you understood everything. I can make sure you understood everything. That won't take us a full 2 hours to do, right? But just so we make sure everybody's on track, okay? Life happens. I get it. So there may be things that happen where a couple of you have already gotten in touch with me about you have this, that, or the other conflict on a given night. I get it. That's why I'm trying to accommodate that with this. So in each week, you'll see the materials for that week, plus archives. So for example, for week 2, I'll fix this link so that Flipgrid is actually working for you guys. You're supposed to read a chapter in the book, but here's the other thing you got to read. It's a PDF, or I'll provide you a link to the article you need to read. So that just kind of keeps going through there. Also, in a week when there's an assignment due, I'll also provide you a link to the assignment. The assignments are all here together in the assignments area. But also, whenever they're due, there'll be a link back there to take you back. Again, I'm trying to be redundant so that it's fairly easy to find, okay? So far, so good. The other thing is, for each assignment, there's a rubric for how it's going to be graded that you can take a look at. This one I'll have to add to it. It's not up there. Okay? And finally, here's my info. This is my office number. It's a Google Voice number, actually, because I'm not on campus often enough for me to give you my, like, you could call my desk, my phone sitting on my desk, and I might not get the message. This will forward to my cell phone without my having to give you out my cell number. Okay, so if you hear a little Google person go, "Please wait while I connect you with," that's just, you've called the right number. Okay, which is going to take a second to get to me. But also, you can set up times to meet with me for office hours. You can schedule them at your convenience. You can either schedule to meet me on campus, or set up a phone call, or we can do a one-to-one Zoom. Okay, and those are all available at that link. Okay, it reads my calendar, and it already knows when I'm free. So any time that it's offering you, I'm okay with. So you just pick one that works for you. Okay. That's kind of all of that. Okay. Questions about all of that business? That was also kind of a lot of info. But I can see Flipgrid's not working as well as I want it to, so I'll make that work. And when it's working, I'll share it with you. But it's kind of fun. It's like, I use my phone often, or you can use your machine to do it, your computer to do it, and you just record a 2-minute video, and then you can leave emojis for each other and comment on each other's stuff, and it's kind of cool. Okay, that's all of that. Any questions about all that? All right. Am I starting to address your concerns about making it through the course and the supports you're going to have here? Okay, great. All right, good. I was hopeful of that. Okay. So we're going to make our way now to let me give you a preview of what's coming up next in the next couple weeks. Oops. Hit the wrong screen. Share that. There we go. All right. So the readings that you're going to do next week from Theo Harrison Brooks and Ornstein and Hunkins are kind of big meta overviews of this whole field. And I can see that that'll be useful to a bunch of you guys. Like, what are we talking about when we talk about curriculum to begin with? There are two quite different takes on it. I gave you a short introduction to that on Flipgrid. I'm not going to waste your time telling you what you're going to go see there. But it's only 2 minutes from me. And so that's that set of readings. In week 3, so this is when you're not here, or you should have this read, by the way, by the time we get together, because our conversation will be based on this. You're going to hear a ton, if you haven't already, about getting kids college and career ready. That is the big focus of curriculum work in the last 15 to 20 years. And it's still there. It's a lot of what people mean when they talk about the Common Core. And so the readings you have there are trying to explain, so what do people actually mean by that anyways, right? So again, you're getting this sort of big framework about what do we mean about curriculum, okay? On Flipgrid, as I said, I'll be leaving you previews of each area and then asking you to discuss, but that's in the syllabus, so you'll be able to time yourself for that, okay? All right, and finally, one of the things that, has anybody here ever heard the phrase hidden curriculum? Okay. So one of the things that, one easy way of defining curriculum is, it's what we teach. It's what we want kids to learn. That's pretty straightforward, right? Like, I think everybody, if you had to define, if I had given you some exercise to define curriculum, that's probably what you would have said, something really close to that, right? There's the overt curriculum, and then there's what's also known as the hidden curriculum, okay? These are the messages that get taught anyways, that fly under the radar to some degree, but we kind of all know they're there, all right? And we're going to be looking at that sort of distinction through the semester, particularly when it comes to race, particularly when it comes to gender and class and disability. What are the hidden curricular messages going on there? Okay, so I want to share with you now just a short bit of spoken word around that, and it's called The Correct Spelling of Father. Okay, and it'll give you a sense of what I'm talking about here with a hidden curriculum, the messages that are being sent anyway. So go there, go to sharing. Now, if this is working right, you should be able to hear it just as clearly and see it just as clearly as I am, okay?
Night. I had the most interesting dream. In it, I was 6 years old in the National Spelling Bee. Genius. Complex words like serendipity, duodenum, phloxanoxin, helipification. all spelled correctly, up until the final round. One word between me and victory. The spell master clears his throat. Young man, your word is father. The crowd began to chatter amongst themselves, seemingly displeased at the simplicity of this final word. So I searched the audience for those eyes that say everything's gonna be okay. Just do it. Realized I dazed off. Young man, your word is father. So I stood up straight, licked my lips, and began. Father. M-O-T-H-E-R. Father. The spell master looks at me. He looks back at his flashcard, then back at me and says, I'm sorry, but you're incorrect. But I don't think he understands. You see, my father is sitting right in the audience. Excuse me? I'm sorry, son, but you are incorrect. Well, then you, sir, can save your sorry apologies, because you must mean incorrect as within the box of being right. Let me explain something to you, because obviously you ain't grow up where papas are rolling stones down the hills of women's backsides, and when he is gone, all he's left us is alone, where minstrel men stroll around on bikes, and fathers balance their menstrual, 2 jobs, 2 kids, and a life on a unicycle, and it looks something like this: breastfeeding with one arm, phone on the shoulder, cooking with one arm, cleaning with one leg, tying sneakers with their teeth. Young fathers who make mistakes, because we are not all perfect, but the one mistake they never make is abandoning their seed. You see, fathers are master gardeners. They tend to every leaf, removing the weeds, placing us in the windows of opportunity so that we can lean towards the sun and never forget that the sky is the limit, planting kisses on our cheeks, hugs on our backs, growing their love on us the best way they know how. Like my father walked a daily nightmare so that I can live my dreams. My father watered me with blood, sweat, and tears in hopes that I'd be ripe for the harvest. And I hope that one day I'll be as great of a father as she was for me. You did not ask me to spell deadbeat, sir. But if you like deadbeat, here it is. Fatherdaddydpops. If you like the slang. You asked me to spell father. Where I am from, in my life, father is, always has been, and always will be spelled M-O-T-H-E-R. So open your encyclopedias. Show me your flashcards. Open your dictionaries. Because what Webster says means nothing around here. Around here. My father's sitting right there. I love her.
So, not going to do a big discussion now, but the piece. Whoops.
You need a logo. The obvious choice is.
The overt curriculum of the spelling bee was pretty simple, right? Took no notice of what impact it was going to have on this young man. Now, clearly, it was problematic in its way. Clearly, also, it's kind of problematic in me presenting it to you, right? Because what's this image of black masculinity that I'm presenting here also, right? That's problematic in its way, too. None of these choices are neutral, right? These choices are all meaningful in terms of a curriculum. And what it brings forth in terms of what kids know and can do are meaningful. They're deeply meaningful, right? And for us to make schools that work for all of our kids, it's super important for us to understand the impact of all those choices and realize that none of these choices are neutral, right? They're not neutral. And to pretend that they are erases the experiences of a lot of our kids, right? And that's hugely important for us. One of the reasons I emphasize that for for aspiring school psychologists is that school psychology can be one of the most ostensibly neutral places of a whole school, and yet it's not. It's absolutely not. Now, I'm not going to go into a whole thing about school psychology. That's the subject of your other program, right? But what I want to do through this is help you to think through how do I in my work approach those issues, right? When I'm going to have to evaluating how clearly, how well kids are able to meet the expectations that are set for them. What are the expectations that are set for them, right? And when the expectations follow a single paradigm, right? A lot of people can wind up being mismeasured by that, right? So that's going to be an important task for us, and that's like, I recognize that I put out a very provocative piece to start off our semester with, right? But I'm looking forward to that kind of conversation that we'll get to have throughout the semester. Okay. I've laid a lot on you tonight. I promise not to do this heavy all the time, right? And I think I must have done 80% of the talking tonight. We won't do that anymore, right? This will be a much more shared space. But I think to get us off, so we all know what to expect, that was necessary for tonight. Okay? Anybody wants to look back at this, I will, like I said, I've recorded it. It takes a little while to process and get back up. Okay, so you'll have to just check and make sure it won't happen tonight. It'll probably be up by tomorrow. Okay? But it takes a little bit of work. Okay? In the meantime, I'm looking forward to hearing from you. And as I said, I'll iron out some of those other issues. And I'll see you all in a couple weeks. Okay? All right. Good night, everybody.